Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of 10 Toes Down with Jen. So glad to have you with me today. Listen, as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. Listen, guys, it's been a few weeks, but life has been lifing, and your girl is good. I just was so busy, but I'm back, and we have a lot to unpack and a lot of things to discuss. As I was thinking over the past couple of weeks, there's something that has been consistently on my mind. And as I'm talking to a lot of different people, it's like this theme that I'm hearing and I'm seeing. And I really wanted to talk a little bit about that today. And that is endurance. Endurance. What does endurance mean? What does that even look like? Right. And you're just like, okay, what is she talking about? Well, I want to talk about endurance today because endurance is something that we all need to have. And at various points in our lives and at different times, we need to have this thing called endurance. And when I was doing some research on it and kind of studying up on endurance, because it seems really basic on the surface level, but there's a lot that goes into it. And so I want to unpack that today. And I also want to be an encouragement to you that no matter where you are in life, whether you're going through something good, something bad, or just kind of so, I want you to understand that you need to have endurance. Nelson Mandela had a quote that I thought was really, really good when I think about this. And he said, if you believe that it can be done, then it'll get done. It's really simple. If you believe that it can be done, then it will be done. And when we think about that, so often in life, we always are telling ourselves, I can do it, we can do it, right? And pushing to the next level. But when we think about endurance, I want you to know first and foremost, number one, in order to have endurance, you have to change your mindset. Yeah, your mindset. You got to change that thing. It is something that we always talk about time and time again. You've probably read books and listened to podcasts and you've been to seminars, right? You've done the whole gambit on, I'm going to change my mindset. I'm going to change how I think. But do you really understand how serious it is and how real that is? When I'm talking about change your mindset, I'm literally saying you have to change how you think about life, how you think about yourself, and how you view situations. So when we're talking about changing our minds, we have to look at it in a few different ways. And when I'm talking about changing your mindset, that literally means you have to start to think different. But like, how do you do that, right? Like, how do I start to think different? Or where do I begin in the process of thinking different? Well, let me tell you something. In order to think different, you have to see different. Does that make sense? In order to think different, you have to see different. And you won't think different if you're not seeing different. So that means you have to change your environment. You have to change what you're listening to. You have to change what you're reading. You have to be intentional about the things that you're allowing yourself to be surrounded by and involved in. Really simple. So you have to change that. And sometimes that's not easy. How do we change our mindsets? How do I change what I'm seeing? Because I have habits and these habits have formed and I'm so used to doing this or that. But you really have to take two steps back and say, okay, if I want to change my mindset so that I can have endurance, build endurance through life, then I have to be intentional about what I'm listening to. I have to be intentional about what I'm watching. I have to be intentional about where I put myself. What do I surround myself with? And in a minute, we'll talk about and the who I surround myself with. So the first thing we're looking at is our mindsets. And how do I change my mindsets? How do we change our mindsets? And it's not easy. It's not easy when you've been trained a certain way all your life. Mama did it this way. Your daddy did it this way. Then you went to college and your friends did it that way. And you just gotten into the formalities and this pattern. And now you get to a place in your life, I'm like, okay, I need to start to rethink how I think. And that's not easy. But in order to have endurance, right, in order for me to endure, to go through, in order to push past, right, in order to see my way through a situation, whether good or bad, I have to change how I look at things. And I have to be intentional about where I'm placing myself. I have to be intentional. And being intentional sometimes means intentionally not doing a thing. Does that make sense? So, like, intentionally not doing something, right? You can have intention to do something and you can have intention not to do something. And both of those things are very intentional. And sometimes we have to have intention to do nothing. Stop trying to always save somebody. Stop trying to always be the person that has the answer. Stop trying to always jump in. Stop enabling people, right? This is what I'm talking about. Sometimes you have to be intentional about doing nothing. And may I also say, sometimes you have to be intentional about saying no. N-O, no. And that's not easy. Now, let me tell you, trust me, as a person who likes to help people, it is hard to say no. It can be very difficult to say no. But, ooh, can I be honest? Sometimes it feels so good and it feels so refreshing when you finally get to the place of saying no. And then it's like, oh, I don't feel as guilty. Oh, what is this sense of relief and release I have by saying no? Maybe I need to do this more often, right? So sometimes we have to be intentional when we help and intentional when not to help, right? We're talking about having endurance. And in order to have endurance, I have to change my mindset. I have to change how I'm looking at things. And that begins up here, right? We always hear people say, you know, sometimes what do you get when you get lemons? You make lemonade. What is the whole premise around that notion? It's about sometimes you don't get a good opportunity. Sometimes what you've been handed isn't the best, but you do what you can with what you have. And it's a mindset, right? It's just about when you think about somebody who you give them a task and they're like, okay, I'm really happy. I'm going to figure out how to do this. I'm going to get the job done, right? They have the mindset versus somebody else is like, oh, why is it another thing? Why do I have to do this? Why do I have to do that? Right? It's a mindset. And your mindset is going to help you or hurt you. When you really get that and you really receive that and understand that your mindset will either help you or hurt you, then you really start to realize, okay, I can unlock the keys to my happiness, my success, going to the next level in any facet of life when I change my mindset. So the first thing we have to do when we're having endurance is we have to change our mindsets. And so I need you to be introspective. I need you to think about how you think. I need you to think about what do you do when you're in a low place? What do you do when you're having a good moment, right? What do you do at these different times and places in life, right? What do you do and where do you often find yourself? That's what I'm talking about when we're thinking about how we actually think. It's taking a minute and doing an internal survey of my life, what I do and what I don't do, what I should do. Because when we're talking about having endurance, right, that means I have to have something inside of me to help me move forward. I have to have something inside of me that I can pull on to pull me through, right? That's that endurance piece we're talking about. So the first thing with endurance we know is we have to change our what? Our mindsets, how we look at things, how we perceive things. But another big part of having endurance is the who I allow in my life. The who I'm connected to. The who I confide in. The who I lean on. When we're talking about having endurance, it's going to be harder for me to have endurance when I'm surrounded by people who believe in the phrase, I can't. It's harder for me to have endurance to push through when I'm in a low place or when I'm going through something and I don't have anybody to lean on. I don't have anybody to call on, or the people I do have to call on don't understand what it means not to quit, right? So who are you leaning on, or who do you have to lean on? Who do you have the ability to talk to? I think oftentimes we're not analyzing the people we have around us. Oftentimes we're not doing the homework to really pay attention to the dream killers and the dream builders, the people who are building us up and the people that are tearing us down. The people that when you call them to say, I'm having a rough moment or I'm having a bad day, they're like, oh, you'll be all right. Versus somebody say, let's talk through it. What's going on? How can I be of a support to you? Have you surrounded yourself with dream killers or dream builders? Who do you have to build you up? Because when it's time for that endurance to kick in, when you have to keep pushing, who's there to push you forward? Who's there to help you? And sometimes the harsh reality is the people you think are really there for you are not. And sometimes the people you expect to be there for you are not. And to be honest, some people don't have the capacity to support you in the ways that you might want to, or to be there for you in the ways that you might need it, because nobody was there for them in that way. So they don't have anything to pull from themselves. So when we're talking about endurance today, I want you to really pay attention to who is in your corner. And I'm not talking about just in your corner to say, hey, you got this. Hey, yes. No, we're not talking about yes men or yes women. We're talking about real people. I'm talking about day ones. I'm talking about ride or die. I'm talking about the people who are like, nah, you look raggedy, go home and change. Oh no, why'd you come out the house with your hair looking like that? What? Why are you talking reckless like that? No, go apologize. You were wrong. Or no, you did great. They can't see it. Keep going with that idea. Who do you have in your life that can help you see you? Who can help you recognize who you are and who you are not? Oftentimes, we live in a space thinking we're something that we really are not. We live in a false reality. And when we're talking about endurance, you have no time to live in a false reality. You need people around you that can see you when you can't see yourself. That can say, no, girl, you got this. No, bro, keep going. And genuinely mean it, right? Where they're not holding something over your head. There's no catch to this. Right? When we're talking about endurance, you need to have somebody around you that can see you, that can say, no, wait a minute, you need to take a break. No, hold up, wait a minute, keep going. You're almost there. Don't quit. Don't give up. Matter of fact, you need people around you that when you feel like you can't go on, they're there to help carry you. See, that's the type of people you want. When we're talking about endurance, you need somebody that's going to jump into the trenches with you and help to get you to the other side without any benefit for themselves. That's the people you want. You don't want people around you who are only in it because they have something to gain. You need people around you that don't care what you look like, don't care about your success level in that moment. They want you to succeed. And they're saying, I'm going to be here with you to help you succeed, even when you don't believe in yourself, even when you think you don't have it. I'm going to be here to help you. That's the people. Who are they? Right? Who are the people that are like, nah, come on, we building, let's go. Pass me the brick. Nah, we building, come on, bro, pass me that. Who are the people that when you're going through hard times are like, nah, don't quit. I know it's hard. I know it's tough, but just get through today, right? Who are the dream builders in your life? Who are the people that are in your ear saying, nah, you got this. Nah, don't quit. No, it's not what it looks like. No, it's not what it seems like. God's got you. Who are those people? Because those are the people you need to be around. Those are the people you need to surround yourself with. Who are your dream builders? Who's helping you build your dream? You've helped so many others build theirs. But who's there to help you build yours? Who's there to help you get to the next level for you? That's the people you want around you when we're talking about endurance. Because there's going to come a point in time where you're going to want to quit. You're going to want to give up. And you're going to say, this is too much for me. And at that point and at that time, you need somebody around you that's like, nah, bro, nah, ma'am, come on. We got this. Don't give up. Nah, come on, we got this. You need people who can see the vision, understand the vision, watch this, and they don't want nothing out of the vision for themselves. You want people in your life who are just happy for you. You want people in your life that's like, yeah, you're going to do this. And they're so excited for you. They're so excited. That's the kind of people you want. Who do you have? Because let me tell you something. There comes a point where you want to quit. And let me be clear. I've seen people who've gotten to a place of great success and want to quit. And I've seen people who have hit rock bottom and want to quit. So I've seen both. Endurance is necessary in both situations. Just because you succeed doesn't mean you don't have to have endurance. Come on, with great success comes great pressure, right? With great failure comes great pain. And you have to learn how to endure in both of those situations. You have to know how to push through in both of those times. Endurance is necessary. It is the ability to have something on the inside of you that you can draw from and pull from to keep you going. That's what I'm talking about today. That this ain't the time to quit. This ain't the time to give up. This ain't the time to back down. This is the time to dig deep and dig in. This is the time not to question, can God, will God? No, he can, he will. But will you? This is not the time for that. This is the time to analyze where you are. And do you have the right people around you to help keep you going? Endurance is so necessary. And endurance is something that you also don't realize you need it until you need it. But if I don't have the right people around me, and if I don't have the right mindset, when I need to pull on something and pull from something to keep myself up, I won't have enough. And you have to get to that place where you realize, I've been feeding myself garbage. I have garbage around me. I need to reset my environment. I need to reset some friendships. I need to reimagine some things. I dare some of you to go back to your, what do you call those things? The vision boards. Go back to your vision board and think about, what did you imagine that you wanted to do that you haven't done? But you haven't done it because you've assumed the finances were not there. You've assumed that there was no help. You've assumed that nobody would support you. Because when you tried to tell somebody, they said, oh, that's going to cost too much. Oh, no, that's going to wait. That's going to be too much. Nah, you can't do that, bro. Oh, nah, you can't do that, sis. Right? I need you to get to that place where you can say, okay, how am I looking at my life? How am I viewing my life? And how are others around me helping me to get to the next level in my life? And you might have to come to some harsh realities that are not easy, but they're so necessary for your growth and development. Endurance is something we all need, and it's something we all must have. But in order for us to get to the other side of wherever we are in life, We have to first adjust how we think, and then we need to assess, who do I have around me? Because I need somebody around me that can see me when I can't see myself. I need somebody around me who can say, no, you got this. Even when you may not believe in yourself, somebody else believes in you. That's the kind of people you need to surround yourself with now. It's time to dig deep. It's time to dig deep. It's time for you to go deeper, right? You got to kick this into third gear. You've come too far to quit. The Bible tells us that all things work together for our good. Not some things, but all things work together for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. So see, the caveat there is, it's going to work for my good for those who are called. For those who are called, I'm going to take it a step further. I'm going to say all things work together for the good of those who are called and those who are connected to God. And if you're called, but you might not be connected, it's a choice. You see, we can't allow the scripture to work for us and bend for us at our convenience. No, it's going to work as long as you're connected. But if you're not connected to God, it may not work, right? Because you need the higher power. You need God to draw from and to pull from. You need God. And when we're talking about endurance, you need endurance to get through. No matter if it's a high or a low, you need endurance just the same. But it is the way you think about a thing, and it is the who you have around you when you're going through a thing that will determine how you come out of a thing. And if you don't have the right people around you and you're not thinking the right way, I promise you, you might be in a certain place longer than necessary because people are allowing you to wallow instead of walk. I just want to encourage some of you today, no matter if you're going through highs or if you're going through lows, we all must endure. And endurance is something that is necessary for our growth and our development. Who do you have around you? And how are you thinking about yourself? How do you see yourself? And maybe it's time for you to rethink how you're thinking about things. But as long as you're connected, I need you to know that all things will work together for your good. The rest is up to you. Are you making a decision to be connected and stay connected? Endurance is necessary to push you through to the other side. And I also will tell you this, endurance is also necessary for you to see what's really on the inside of you. Because you don't really know what's inside of you until you're pressed. You don't really know what's on the inside of you until you're pushed. You don't really know what's on the inside of you until you have to endure. And it's at that moment when you endure that you know that you're going to come out on the other side A-okay. How are you thinking about things? And who do you have around you that can push you to the other side? Push you not to quit and to push you higher. It's time to endure. But the question is, how will you endure? Like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. It's time to endure. I'll see you next time. God bless.